Have you ever wondered how to carve a nice looking pumpkin? Well, today I was planning on showing you how to do that. There may be some questions that people have, and they could be, how do you actually carve a pumpkin? What are the safety issues, and how can you make it look better? Well, the first thing that you got to do to a pumpkin is you got to cut the top off with a knife like this, and you just take it around and carve it there, and you can make a little tooth even so you know where to put it back in. And then next you take the top off, you take one of these little shovels and you can scrape all the insides out, and you take all the guts out and the seeds, and with the seeds you can actually bake them and people eat them, and for the guts you can make pumpkin pies and pumpkin bread and all kinds of sorts of stuff. And what I was going to use to carve my pumpkin was a book I had purchased for about $6 at Walmart. You can probably pick it up at any local store that you have. It has easy sketches or easy patterns. It has some medium ones, and even has some pretty hard patterns. There are several different utensils that you can use. There's bigger knives and small knives, and then there's these little things. They have sharp edges. They will transfer the pattern onto the pumpkin so you know what to cut out. And then after you pick out a pattern from your book, you cut it out. You put tape all around the four edges, and you just tape it right onto your pumpkin. And just makes it easier when you tape it so it doesn't slide all over the place. And then after you have it all taped on, you take one of these utensils and you just go around all the dotted objects that it has here. This makes it easier for you to just transfer it onto the pumpkin. And you got to make sure you push it hard enough too so you can see it while you're carving or try to carve it. If you can't see it, then you're not going to be knowing what you're doing. It just makes it easier for when you're trying to carve. After you have everything all carved out with this, you can even make deeper depressions with this thing. So you'll go around all the edges, so it's actually even easier to see, which can be less time consuming trying to find where your holes are at so you can carve here. And then after you have everything all cut out here, you just peel it off, like so. And it's easier when you use a bigger knife because it cuts easier. And you just slowly carve up and down motions with your knife. And you got to be careful not to get your hands in the way because you don't want to cut yourself. That wouldn't be good. And when you cut these out, you just lightly push on the back of the pumpkin. And there we already have an eye. You can do that with both sides here. This is probably one of the easiest ways to carve a pumpkin, is to get a book at a store so you have a pattern to carve out of. Just makes things simpler. And when you have little children doing this, you might want to supervise them so they don't harm or cut themselves with the knives, because they are kind of sharp sometimes. kind of a festive thing too, because Halloween is coming up and goes along great with the season. And then after you get it all carved, you can kind of put details on it, make the eyes more curvy instead of all straight. And then when you're all done, see what makes it easier about this tooth here, you can just kind of slide it right back in place. And then for the end project here, you have the candle. You can slide it right inside here and it glows and just makes it all nice. And this is what it looks like. And this is how you make a nice looking carved pumpkin.